was Kenneth's wife. Now this next part may be a little disturbing. He met her at an age that I can't say, but I can show you the last number of this clock. Her parents, of course, were outraged, but
Yo, welcome back to the back at another video. Today we're going to be reacting to the town that took out an evil man and hid it from the FBI by Xevi. Before we get into this video, make sure to sub, like the video, and comment if you feel like it. Let's get straight into the video.
Meet Kenneth, a man who was in front of 60 eyewitnesses, but the FBI could never find out him. Why? Well, because Kenneth had a problem.
Okay, I don't get that. How you got killed in front of 60 eyewitnesses? You telling me not one person snitched? That's a solid ass town, I ain't gonna lie.
Everyone in his town hated him. Why? Because he sucked. But not your normal kind of suck. I mean, really sucked. He kept things real simple. If you wanted something, he'd just walk over and take it. He wants some of your gasoline in your farm, he'd walk over to your farm,
that boy,
take some of your gasoline. He wants some of your
juggy for nothing.
Your farm, take some of your cattle. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, why did...
If you're not sub, go ahead and do that before I blow you down.
They let him get away with that. Well, take a look at this picture. That man had some heft to him. Man's was 270. Big boy. They say Kenneth. He said, They say, that cattle in your farm look a lot like my cattle. He said, so? They said, well, I'm finna go get the sheriff then. He said, cool, I'm finna go get the strap then. Kenneth was not afraid to blow anybody down. So even the sheriffs were scared of him.
That boy was on hot.
He had already been arrested like 20 times, but always got away with it because he had a really good lawyer. So he feels like he's invincible. In fact, he would say it himself all the time in town. I can do whatever I want and no one could do a thing about it. But one day he took things a little too far. This is Trina. Sitting next to her is Alice. She's gonna come in a little later in the story. Trina was Kenneth's wife. Now this next part may be a little disturbing. He met her at an age that I can't say, but I can show you the last number of this clock. Her parents, of course, were outraged, but that didn't stop him from seeing her. Now again, this part with Trina is disturbing, but I do find it important not to skip over these topics. So he's 35. He enters in a relationship with her, and eventually...
Whoa! He's 35? And he got in a relationship with a 12-year-old. That alone is enough to... That alone is... Okay, that's crazy.
Now, at this point, he knew he was doing
eventually
way too
having
much.
a child with her?
He wasn't going to get away with this. So Kenneth goes to Trina's parents and tells them, look, y'all got to let me marry her or I'm finna get in trouble. They say, hell no. So he burns their house down. And remember what I said earlier in the story. The police...
Bro, this nigga's a demon. Bro, so first he takes a 12-year-old girl, gets her pregnant, asks her parents, oh, let me marry her. They say no, and he burns their house down. Nah, he's OC, bro. He's OC.
And he has an insanely good lawyer. Well, there's another thing he did to escape jail, and that was threaten people and actually follow up on his threats. Oh, they won't let me marry her daughter? I'm gonna burn their house down. This made people in the town know and understand what he's capable of. If he had a problem with someone, he would follow them around for days. So people just let him do whatever he wants. Like, sadly, Trina's parents. Kenneth marries Trina. Now, remember Alice from earlier? Well, there's something I forgot to tell you. This was his first wife. But to get married to Trina, he divorces Alice. But then he still moves Alice into his house with Trina, so he basically has two wives. But then Trina and Alice together run away from Kenneth, because remember, Kenneth sucks, and they go to Trina's house, which they just rebuilt. Kenneth follows them to Trina's parents' house, burns down their house again, it's their dog, and then takes Trina.
Bro, how good is this nigga's lawyer? Bro, you're telling me, bro, what type of lawyer can get you free out of arson? Out of 2 counts of arson? What type of lawyer this nigga got, bro? This nigga got Jayoma.
Back. The police this time jump in and say, hell no. The police arrest Kenneth and put Trina in foster care. Let that sink in. But Kenneth gets out of jail because of his amazing lawyer.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. What do you mean amazing lawyer? This not no amazing, bro. This nigga is the lawyer, bro. This nigga might be the justice system, bro. What do you mean he got out because he's an amazing lawyer? I ain't gonna lie, you gonna need to give me an ad or something, bro. You gonna need to give me some credentials.
Trina's foster
You getting bro out
and
for
tells
2
them
counts of arson?
Girl for girl. They said, what do you mean? He says, give me Trina and you get your daughter back. The family had a biological daughter and they were foster parents for Trina. They said, we already have our biological daughter. She's at school. He says, yeah, but I know where she goes to school and I know where she takes the bus. Again, give me Trina. They give him Trina. Now here's where the story starts to get wicked. As you can imagine, everyone in his town hates his guts. What I told you was a story in a few minutes, but this was going on for decades to them. They're living their whole lives with this guy. But one day, his daughter goes over to the local grocery store and she picks
He
up
had
some
to
candy.
go, bro.
The grocery
He
store
had
owner,
to go.
Bo, says, oh, you gotta pay for that. The daughter goes over and tells Kenneth. Kenneth walks over to Bo and says, you accusing my daughter of stealing? Bo says, nah, Kenneth. Bo survives. Hit right here, but he survives. Now remember, Kenneth has never been convicted. He even, somebody before, I just didn't mention it, that person also survived. But this time, Kenneth was like, let me not take any chances. I'm gonna just do my old tricks. So Kenneth follows around Bo's family. He starts waiting around their house. They're terrified. He goes, okay, cool, check. He then goes over to the prosecutor and says, you finna try to put me in jail, right? The prosecutor says, well, yeah, that's my job. Kenneth says, you ain't heard about all the stuff I did to people in the TikTokers video? The prosecutor says, oh, I did hear that. All right, you got it. Prosecutor leaves. A new prosecutor comes in straight out of law school. He says, are you Kenneth? Kenneth goes, yeah. You heard about all the stuff I did in the video? Prosecutor says, yeah, but I ain't scared. We finna take it to trial, baby. Kenneth says, what? The prosecutor says, yeah, you going to jail.
Yeah, boy.
Kenneth's lawyer says, you know I got you. I'm a really good lawyer. But then the prosecutor does something extremely clever.
This don't sound real, bro.
Beat Kenneth's lawyer straight up. He's just a really good lawyer. Prosecutor, fresh out of law school. Kenneth is intimidating this guy's family. It's gonna be a tough trial. So the prosecutor says, look, what Kenneth did was attempted. He's supposed to get like 15 years. But listen closely, Kenneth is not gonna be prosecuted for attempted. He's gonna be prosecuted for assault, which is only like 2 years. Now, this is what prosecutors do when they know it's probably gonna be really hard to win a case. It's like if someone steals a car. If a prosecutor can't prove it, they'll just probably charge them for driving without a license. And while miraculously, for the first time in Kenneth's life, he's convicted. 2 years, but Kenneth gets out on bail. Then Kenneth files an appeal.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. This nigga Kenneth might be the truth, bro. I ain't gonna lie. At this point,
walks
bro.
into his town's bar and says, I'm finna get away with it. And he says, you know what else I'm finna do? He brings out his and says, I'm finna Bo, and no one's gonna do a thing about it. The town
This has to be like a
silent.
old town,
So
no
they all
cameras, no
gather
nothing.
for a meeting in the town hall, including the sheriff and including the mayor. They said, what are we gonna do about Kenneth? He might get away with this. The sheriff says, I have an idea. Everyone says, thank God. The sheriff says, what if you guys form a neighborhood watch? And that was the town's breaking point. Their protector not finna do a thing about it. Boom, somebody busts in the town hall. They say, hey, Kenneth next door. He drinking. Everyone in the town rushes next door to the tavern. Everyone waits outside. Kenneth walks out, says, what's up, y'all want a picture? Stop playing with me.
Damn, that boy Kenneth moving like he the truth. I ain't gonna lie. Whole neighborhood watch for one man.
Looks at each other. 2 people grab their and start letting them things go. Trina is with Kenneth in the car. She jumps out. Somebody grabs her and rushes her to safety. And they lit bro's car up. They missed almost everything, but hit him with 2. And that was all that was needed. No one called an ambulance. The sheriff didn't arrest anybody. The prosecutor didn't press charges. The FBI, though, said, hey, yo, what? Hell no. They go over to the town and they interview 100 people. 100 people ain't
100 people stay solid. Bro, imagine niggas hating you. Imagine niggas hating you so mad that 100 people from a town all stay solid about your death.
Presumably found out a lot more about Kenneth. They said, oh, all right, we're just gonna go home. Trina, though, Kenneth's wife, goes over to the FBI and says, y'all not finna do anything? They said, mama, he sucks. And nobody's saying anything. That's why we can't do nothing. She says, well, I saw who did it. His name was Dale. If you're wondering why she's doing this, Stockholm Syndrome. She was with Kenneth for a long time at this point. The FBI said, okay. They go over to Dale. They said, do you do it? He said, no. They said, okay. They go over to Trina and said, Dale said he ain't do it. Trina says, fine. So she sues the town for $6 million. They gave her $17,000. They said, girl, here. And well, Trina moved away and remarried. As for Kenneth, to this day, his is still technically unsolved. Now, I have a genuine question for you.
Hey,
do you
rest
think
in
the town
piss,
was
boy.
justified in what they did? Let me know.
Bro, I think the amount of terror he caused for the town, bro, he had to go. I ain't gonna lie. He had to. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to sub, like, and comment if you feel like it, and peace.